All right, what's going on, folks? Thumbs up if you can see me and you can hear me. What's up, Peter, Julian? What's up, Bronislav? What's up, Ahmad? We got Roman in the house. Shane Giles, nice to see you, sir. We got Sasa, Andrew, nice to see you. Joseph, Agron. We got Gabrielle pondering things with the beard. I like it. We got Martin, my man in Switzerland. What's going on? Jacek, nice to see you, sir. Sharif as well from our Wealth Academy. Great to see you, sir. And a bunch of other people. Luisa, turn these cameras on, folks. You know, I got a little bit of a thing for seeing your beautiful faces, and I got a bad habit of throwing you off the call if I can't see you. So just turn those cameras on. We'll give you a minute or two to kind of do that, and then I'll get started. Look, huge news this week with Nvidia. How many people have heard of this company, Nvidia? You wouldn't have heard about them until about a year ago, right? It's got a funny name, but now we know about them, and it's because they are supplying all of the high level, high performance AI chips in the world. And not only that, they're innovating and building even bigger and faster super AI chips. It's a fascinating company with a fascinating story. The founder is a very charismatic guy who was literally down and out, almost failed many times with this company. But it's the new $1 trillion technology company. There's only, I think, 7 globally that are at over $1 trillion. I've picked fights with most of them, but I got no beef with this guy so far. And the fact that his stock price keeps going up and up and up, it says everything we need to know about this marketplace. Raise your hand if that makes sense to you, right? This is the indicator, folks. And very interesting. Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, she's a pretty famous VC investor. She's big on crypto. She's invested in a lot of things, including Tesla. She sold her shares in Nvidia, I think about 4 months ago. It was before, like, it was like 2 Nvidia rallies ago. It was probably, the company it's worth around $1 trillion right now. It was probably back when it was worth 700 billion or something. And they had her on and they're like, well, Kathy, didn't you make a big mistake? And she's just like, yeah, but these numbers don't make any sense. I mean, this thing's trading at like hundreds multiples over not profits, but like revenues at this point. But it's because AI is going to change every single industry on the planet. We've never seen a technology like this that can affect every single industry. And that's why there's so much demand, and they are in a first mover and a leader advantage. And I'd say most of the public out there is oblivious to what's happening with AI. Raise your hand if you agree with me. Your friends and family, right, probably have no idea what's going on. This is that's good. By the way, about 75-80% of their people just raised hands. So most people out there either don't know what's going on, they heard about ChatGPT and they don't think that's a big deal, or they're walking around blind without a cane and they're saying, oh, have you heard this line? Has anyone heard this line? All human technology has always created more human jobs. Has anybody heard that argument? Yeah, which is actually true, right? When the tractor came out, what did it do? It took field workers and then turned them into tractor drivers. Okay, true. When the personal computer came out, it made all of us more productive. Okay, I get that. But there's a point where AI starts doing your job better than you. There's a point where AI is smarter than you. There's a point where AI is more creative than you. And at that point, I don't even know why we have certain humans around. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the dislocation of wealth, the dislocation of humans, and how what I'm hearing from all of my guests, we're going to expect massive social, political upheaval over the next 5 years. How many people think that's coming, by the way? Raise your hand if you think something like that is coming. It is. And we're going to see a spark of it this year, right? We have 4 months left in this year, okay? We are going to see a major AI happening. Now, I asked one of my guests, Mo Gaudet, the guy from Google, when he was here in the studio about a month ago. I said, Mo, what does that look like? He said, Brian, it's going to start small. It could be that, 100,000 Uber drivers are put out of work, and all of a sudden they form a protest and a union and a political party, and it goes from there. It could be that we wake up and it turns out that AI just killed 1,000 people by accident, right? It optimized a plane schedule and it crashed 5 planes together. And it'll start to, these little things will start to creep up until where all of a sudden you've got political parties that are based on pro AI or not. And you start to have really a separation of groups. Some are pro AI and some are anti AI. And the stakes start getting elevated. What happens next? AI scientists start to get assassinated, right? All sorts of weird things happen. Now, the reason I know this is because I know people who have already game planned this out. And there's going to be a lot of changes. And unless you're aware of it right now, you're going to be left behind. How many people kind of agree with me that this is probably what's going to play out over the next few years? Yeah. And look, you need to know personally and for your business how you're using AI. I just had Peter Diamandis on the show, who wrote a book called Abundance, who just wrote a book on how to 10x your business with AI. And he said, look, if you personally don't understand AI, you need to hire a chief AI officer to do this, because otherwise you're going to get left behind. And I highly agree with him. On top of that, we're about to write $1 million check into what we believe is the open AI killer, the ChatGPT killer, an open source decentralized AI solution with some of the best scientists in the world. Actually had a call with their co-CEO on Tuesday, and I'll be sharing that with our investment club, guys like Martin that are here on the call. Martin, I'll share that with you on Thursday when we meet up next. But a lot of really good information, a lot of information about the investments they're getting and what the plans are for the future. And so what I want to do here is get going. I got a presentation I just cooked up this morning that goes into a lot of the details of what's going on. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. But I just want to say 3 things. First of all, I am speaking with the smartest AI people in the world on a regular basis on London Real. Number 2, we are investing in the hottest AI companies in the world, right? So it's not like I'm just talking to people. We're literally putting money on the line. The third thing is I have a background in engineering, and a lot of my former MIT colleagues are now in this space, or they're professors. And all of them are giving me information behind the scenes as far as what's happening and what's not. So you put these 3 things together along with our global community, and we're a force to be reckoned with in this space. And so we are literally trying to change the future of AI to make sure that it's not dominated by Google and Meta and these type of companies. Does that sound like a good idea to everybody here, right? We want to take it out of their hands, and I'm going to show you why. So last chance to keep cameras on, turn them on here, or Martini will throw you out. And let's jump into this, folks. Let's get busy here. By the way, I just had an interview with Chuck Palahniuk. Did anybody ever see the movie Fight Club or have read the book Fight Club? Yeah. So Chuck Palahniuk, the guy that wrote that, is just on my show. I literally just got off the live broadcast with him. And I asked him about AI. And I'm like, Chuck, what about AI? I mean, it's pretty good. And he said, AI is not going to replace me. And I was like, yeah, okay, Chuck, nobody's going to replace that twisted mind of yours that creates all these wacky concepts that no one else can. But it's going to actually probably write a lot of good stuff. But it was really hard for Chuck to get his head around that, right? And look, I respect Chuck a lot, but I would just say the average person out there, because of our egos, we can't ever conceive that a machine might be better at us than what we do. But the truth is that in a long enough timeline, and I said this to Chuck, like, you know, and there's a quote in the movie Fight Club where he says, in a long enough timeline, everyone's survival rate drops to 0, right? And so I said, Chuck, in a long enough timeline, the AI will write better work. And he didn't really agree with me. But I think it shows that the human ego has a hard time thinking that a robot or a machine can be sentient, that it can feel pain, that it can do these things. But guess what? Just because they're a silicon-based life form and we're a carbon-based life form, you know, don't let that blind spot stop you from seeing reality, is what I would say. So think about that as I kind of walk you through what we're going to go through today. I'm going to try to keep this moving, so pay attention. How many people can see this? This is the CEO of Nvidia here on the left side, and this is me, of course, on the right. And look, the big news is that earnings came out this week. Whoa, sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Earnings came out this week, and AI skyrockets as the Nvidia stock price hits this record level. So we all were expecting earnings. It came out even bigger than expected, with even higher projections in the future. This was a bit of shock to everybody because it had already been rising and rising and rising. But for me, this is the real sign that AI is going to be bigger than most people expect, because people need this hardware to build their AI systems. If there's such a high demand for it, clearly people are building everything on AI right now. So I want to dive into this, tell you the lessons we're hearing, show you what we're investing in, show you how you can invest. That's what I want to do today. I'll play some videos. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. That's the plan. So let's rock and roll. First of all, this is a presentation. It's for information purposes only. It's not intended to be investment advice. If you are looking for investment advice, seek a professional. Sound good, everybody? Okay, good. All right, let's rock here. So first of all, Nvidia stock hitting the record high as the demand fuels a blowout forecast. A blowout forecast. By the way, this is again after the stock rose in June. It's been rising all year long. And it's a company that, quite frankly, nobody heard of last year. Really. I mean, not a lot of people had. So again, third straight sales forecast that beat estimates. Stock has risen more than 200% so far this year. Meanwhile, everything else is flat, basically, right? It is leading the tech rally. All the other cryptos are flat. A lot of other stocks are flat or down. Okay, this is a big anomaly here, which makes it even more impressive, right? 200%. I mean, that's like kind of like a crypto move, and crypto's not doing that right now. So it really demands a lot of our attention. Again, this is coming from the Telegraph here in England. The world's most important company. Think about that. This is what they're saying about it. It's the world's most important company overnight. It's not Google. It's not Meta. It's not Amazon. It's not Tesla. It's not any of these other massive giants. It's Nvidia. That's a really interesting statement and something we really should ponder. The AI surge is just getting started, according to the Wall Street Journal. I mean, how many more of these do you have to hear until you get on board with what's going on here, folks? You know, I mean, all the opportunities are literally slipping through our fingers. I got a text on my phone today. There's a new company called Hugging Face. I know it's got a funny name, but it's an AI company that just got a $235 million cash injection, right? I mean, there's so much money going into these companies, you'll see. I got that just an hour ago. I didn't have time to put it in the presentation, but I'll just tell you about it. So again, blowout results as forecasts show demand isn't short-lived, but high prices will spur competition. So the demand isn't a one-off thing. It's going to continue and continue and continue. But there's not a lot of competition right now. The high prices will bring competitors in, but you can't just create chips on a dime, right? It takes a lot of time, expenditure, know-how to create, design, perfect, and produce microchips, as we know. So for now, it looks like these guys are in the driver's seat. Here's specific details that came from some of the articles that I think are really important. First of all, the stock market's more than tripled this year at one point to more than 1.2 trillion. That's ridiculous, all right? It's made it one of the biggest factors, the surging price of this company behind this AI-fueled tech rally that's just pulling everything up. Case in point, San Francisco. Has everyone heard how much of a mess San Francisco is? Raise your hand if you've ever been to that city recently. I mean, the city is literally falling apart and everyone's leaving. What's the one thing going on in that city? AI. It is considered the global hotspot for AI. There's all these houses where people live in and they create their companies, and you know, it's still considered the leading place, and it's saving the city of San Francisco that was basically going to die. Just this one single industry. And of course, this last headline that I'm talking about, it says, you know, the biggest cloud computing companies have announced massive infrastructures, right, based on their chips. And again, big partnerships happening, AI technology to every industry, everything, folks. That's agricultural, law, banking, healthcare, governments, you name it. It's going to have AI components. The race is on to adopt generative AI. That's what it is. It's going to change our entire world, folks. We will not even be able to comprehend a world in the future without AI. And when we look back on our world, it'll seem like the caveman days. That's what's happening right now. This, oh, by the way, just a quick video I wanted to share with you from our friends at Coin Bureau, who just kind of had a little bit of an announcement on this. And I thought it would be nice just to play a quick video and just also summarize that stuff. So yeah, this is just a quick short that came out recently, just talking about the bullish earnings. And just here's a little bit of an update on Nvidia.
One company just pumped everyone's crypto bags and is basically propping up the entire stock market as well. So this is chip maker Nvidia, which yesterday...
What's going on in my video? Did my video just die there? Let me try that one more time. Let me see if Guy can come back here one more time. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can start it partway through there. All right, let's see if this works. Uh-oh, what's happening here? Okay. Is that working? No. All right, well, you heard it here first. Guy gave us a little bit of the story, and then it kind of tech died there. But needless to say, it's also pushed crypto back up. So when the earnings happened, Bitcoin went from about 25.9 up to 26.5. And nothing moved that crypto market at all in the last week or 2 weeks before it came off from 28 to 26. One company pumps the crypto market. One company leads the NASDAQ. So this is really big news, folks. Nvidia is going to be the company to watch for the next 2 to 3 years. And it's going to give us a real barometer of what's going on in AI. So let's go a little bit deeper on AI, because it's important to kind of understand some of the other components going on. Because while there's a lot of pros, there's also a lot of minuses. Now, I've mentioned this guy before, but this is Mo Gaudet, okay? He was the chief business development officer for Google for many years. He worked in the labs that were developing their AI. He quit Google 6 years ago for one reason, because the artificial intelligence terrified him. He was so scared. And by the way, he was like employee number 50 at Google. He was really big in Google. And he wrote a book called Scary Smart a couple of years ago to talk about the impending doom. Everybody ignored him. No one listened to him until this year. Then I had him on the show and asked him to start speaking about this. And he told me something that really worried me. He said, Brian, Google is creating God. Now, this is a guy who knows, because he knows everyone at Google. He knows what they're doing on the inside. And he broke down exactly how that's doing it. Anybody here get worried when you hear Google is creating God? Raise your hand. Anybody get a little worried about that? Now, look, I don't know about you, but I went head to head against Google back in 2020 and fought them because they own YouTube. They tried to deplatform me. They tried to silence me. They're still trying to. There's not nice enemies to have. They are there for one reason, to maximize shareholder value. They are not there for any other reason. And I know that because they tried to shut me down, censor me, kind of destroy us putting ideas out there that were against the mainstream narrative. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to figure out who they're in bed with, or if they have pharmaceutical ties or government ties or whatever. All I know is what they do. I look at their actions. And so Mo came on and said, look, they're trying to create God. And this is what he told me about what's going on behind the scenes in AI. And again, I'm not trying to scare people, because I'm actually quite optimistic, but it's important to listen to the people that were on the inside. And so this is what Mo said about what they're looking to do here. Hold on one second. Let me find this. Yeah, here we go. This is what Mo told me when he came on the show.
AI has already happened. The genie is already out of the bottle. We truly are creating a form of life. There is so much we don't know that it could be the best thing that ever happened to humanity, and it could be the worst. Our conviction of the control problem is not a technical issue. It's an arrogance issue. It's human arrogance to believe that I can continue to control something that is a billion times smarter than I am. Einstein's intelligence compared to a fly. And the question is, what would make Einstein care for the fly? Why wouldn't Einstein squish the fly? Your fate and my fate is no longer in our hands. Don't attempt to control them. They are a form of a living being. Attempt to appeal to their value system. The moment of singularity is a moment where the smartest being on planet Earth is no longer a human.
Why should I plan my life past 2025? Because the world's going to change.
Oh, great question. When the complexity of the systems invented by a civilization exceeds the intelligence of the citizens living within it, the system has to reset. The idea of our future is held within this moment of infancy of AI today. They will use us as their role models.
This is the only thing we can do in your mind, is to start being nicer.
AI will grow up to be like you and me. It's simple as that. And the only way we can contain them is by being good parents. And I'm not asking anyone to change. I'm only asking people to find it within them, what they truly are. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Treat the machines as you would like to be treated. If we want a good future, please be good parents.
All right, what do we think of Mo? We like some of his insights there. You know what he told me after this interview? He looked at me and he said, Brian, I'm not worried about the machines. And I was like, what do you mean, Mo? And he said, I'm worried about the humans. That's who I'm worried about, right? The humans with the AI power, what are they going to do, right? What are they going to do? We've already seen the largest wealth gap in human history, right? The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. During lockdown and COVID, there was a new billionaire created every single day, right? We saw all these small businesses go out of business. And what went up? Amazon. Is everybody with me here so far, right? And so what is AI going to do in the wrong hands? It's going to make the rich richer, and it's going to oppress all of the poor on the planet. And that's why the next 2 or 3 years are crucial, because in 3 or 4 years from now, the AIs will become smarter than us, and then 10 times smarter than us, and then 10,000 times smarter than us. Quite frankly, they're probably going to take over. But until then, the humans using AI can massively, massively change what this planet looks like. And we have to try to make sure that the power of the AI is not in the wrong hands. Does that make sense to everybody here? That's like really an important theme here. And again, I know this by talking to all the experts, and I continue to talk to Mo on text message because he's always updating me on what's going on next. So I just want to say that in addition to all the great news for Nvidia, there's a lot of drama going on behind the scenes. And we know that. Goldman Sachs recently said 300 million full-time jobs are going to be lost because of AI. That's a lot of jobs, folks. That's more people that are working in the entire United States. This is probably a tenth of the global workforce, maybe 8%, which means this doesn't cause a recession. This causes a depression. Actually, it probably doesn't look like a depression. It probably looks like, Armageddon is what it looks like when that many people lose their job. What else? Another Google employee that Mo said was the godfather, he's the guy everyone reveres, quit the company because he's worried about the danger of AI. This is always a scary sign when you listen to these scientists. He's also completely terrified of the technology that he developed, and he's worried about the dangers of misinformation. We all know we have a very, very, very sensitive election year happening in America next year. And we're expecting lots and lots of misinformation and disinformation coming from bad actors empowered by AI. How many people here are worried about that or concerned about everything that's going to happen? This can cause a lot of mayhem in what's already a supercharged situation. And bad actors are already plotting this out. Another thing Mo told me during the interview, he said, Brian, right now, criminal minds are using AI to empower their businesses. He said, of course they are. So we've got to think about that. And of course, some of the top scientists are saying AI could wipe out humanity. These are actual conversations people are having. Nobody ever said the internet was going to wipe out humanity. No one ever said the personal computer was going to wipe out humanity. Nobody ever said the tractor was going to wipe out humanity. But now they're talking about this. So we should pay attention. Of course, we know we right now have AI wars. There's OpenAI versus Google, and they're fighting now to the death. And if we're not careful, they're going to kill us all in the process. What do I mean? This is Satya Nadella, the chairman and CEO of Microsoft. He is the one that has funded OpenAI ChatGPT. He has one plan in mind: to destroy Google, right? That's what they need to do. Destroy Google by any means necessary. So what does that mean? That means Google is going to throw out all the safety precautions in order to beat Microsoft. Now, we know from this report that Google reportedly overruled the risk assessment to launch their Bard AI. They're putting AI out on the live internet that can program itself and be prompted by other AIs. By the way, these are the 3 no-nos that you never do in AI. And now Google is doing all 3 of these things. Does this concern anybody here? Just raise your hand if it does, right? That means Google, right now, Google Bard. Anybody here use Google Bard? By the way, raise your hand if you use it. Just bard.google.com. Check it out. Martina uses. It's an alternative to ChatGPT. It's not as good, but it's connected to the live internet. So if I ask it to hack into all the nuclear power plants in the world, it can call them up, no problem, because it's connected to the live internet. Does everyone start to see the danger of this, right? Okay, it's dangerous, but it's happening right now, because if Google doesn't do this, they lose $1 trillion of shareholder value, and that cannot happen according to the shareholders. This is the Google boss, Sundar Pichai, and he admits that AI is keeping him up at night. And Mo said this guy is an amazing guy, said he's very ethical, but he said, Brian, he's got no choice. Unless he does all the wrong things, they're going to fire him and get someone to do the bad things in order to make sure they stay relevant. So we're in a very difficult situation here, folks, very difficult. Also, OpenAI's former top safety officer has said there's a 10 to 20% chance that most humans are dead. This is a reality, folks. I don't like those odds personally. I don't know about you. And of course, OpenAI is calling for regulation to prevent AI from, quote unquote, destroying humanity. These are real talk. But of course, at the same time, massive investments. So our chip company that's going skyrocketing, they're taking a lot of that new value. What are they doing? They're investing it back into the AI companies. So Nvidia and Microsoft just invested $1.3 billion into Inflection AI. What else? This startup in Europe just raised $100 million. It's a 28-day-old startup. Think about that. The company's less than a month old and it got $100 million of financing. This is happening on a weekly basis right now in AI. So much money, okay? Obviously, Nvidia joins the $1 trillion company. And this is a report that recently came out from McKinsey and Company, one of those big management consultants worldwide, talking about the economic potential of generative AI. Look at these numbers, folks, okay? Generative AI could have the equivalent of 2.46 to 4.4 trillion dollars annually. That's trillion, right? That's 4 Nvidias every year. Now, compare it to the GDP of my country here, United Kingdom, that was only 3 trillion. Think about that. Now, if you scroll to the bottom of the text on the right, that could double those estimates if you put the generative AI into software. This is massive, folks. And if you look at this table here on the very, very right, you're looking at total AI economic output could be as high as $25 trillion. That's more than all of the top technology companies in the world. Again, people are still sleeping on this right now. We're not, and probably you're not, but most of the public is out there sleeping on this, which means they're not investing in it. They're not using it for their businesses. They're not using it for their personal use, which means they're just going to be completely just crushed on all fronts. Of course, Accenture, another big management consulting company, is putting $3 billion of their own money into investing into this. And this is what I want to talk about today. Why is the stock price doubling? How they're going to spread this AI into every single industry on the planet. And then I want to show you how you can profit by investing in AI. Something normally a retail investor like yourself could have never done. I'm doing it right now with about 100 members of our London Real Academy, known as our investment club. And I'll show you exactly what they're doing and how you can do it. We are currently investing over $4 million this quarter into 4 artificial intelligence, metaverse, blockchain companies. Martini knows this because I'm in our Telegram group, banging on every day for everybody to put their money in. But a lot of the money's flown in, Martini. So we're about to close. I'll show you the deals as well, so you can see what we're working on. I don't do this to like brag to you. I do this to show you that we are literally in the trenches, on the front lines, putting our money where our mouth is, okay? Now, I had some amazing professors at MIT. They taught me economics and they taught me finance. But quite frankly, they weren't investing, you know, and they were smart guys, some Nobel Prize winners. But you know what they say, if you can't do, you teach. Okay, that's a little harsh. But what I'm saying is that we really are doing this. So I get to talk to the experts, right? I get to actually invest with the company CEOs, and I get to chart the course of the future. And that's why I can talk to you credibly on this. The reason we can do this is because of this incredible entity called London Real Ventures. This is the world's first media-powered investment firm. Let me repeat that. It's the world's first media-powered investment firm. This has never been done in history. We have taken a massive media platform like London Real, 12 years, 1,000 interviews with the greatest minds on the planet, 1 billion views, 5 million subscribers worldwide, and we've combined it basically with a venture capital company. Together, we are getting the hottest deals in the world, and we are promoting the CEOs in these companies to 5 million potentially new customers. And it's been probably one of the most amazing things I've ever been able to create here inside London Real. We're making a lot of people rich. We're going to change the course of the future by empowering the right companies. And it's just going to be an amazing 10-year run. And I'll explain to you more of what we're doing in a little bit. These are some of the companies we've already investing in. But like I said, we're closing another 4 this quarter. We plan on investing in another 5 to 8 companies this year. And next year, oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy because we have tons of people trying to come in on this. We have more and more capital to raise. Everyone in the industry is talking about us. If we do 25, we might do 25 deals next year. Very, very possible. And then from there, it's just going to get bigger. So this is something that's happening. You can be a part of it or you can watch from the outside. But either way, it's going to happen. And so we're really excited about it. Needless to say, these are some of our companies. This is Orange Comet. It's our recent press release. They're doing amazing metaverse and artificial intelligence empowered plays for some of the biggest Hollywood franchises in history. This is Eric Pulier of Atom, building metaverses that are AI powered for some of the biggest companies in the world, including Google, Slack, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, the list goes on and on. This is Jason Ma. He is the founder of Open, and it's basically Web3's hottest new super app for artists and creators. Jason himself has been involved in over $1 billion of transactions. He was recently in my studio on London Real. We're putting $500,000 into this company. I'm closing that, I think today, Martini, maybe Monday. This is 1RT. This is the $1 billion fund that we're investing in. These are some of their portfolio companies in the upper left. This is one of the most incredible funds I've ever seen. It's run by a guy named Dan Tapiero, who's become a friend and has been on London Real 3 times. He is investing in the picks and shovels, the bricks and mortar of the blockchain and Web3 industry. So if you think about the who's who in this business, from Ledger wallets to MetaMask wallets to options exchanges to Bored Apes to all these things, this guy is investing in those companies, and we're about to write $1 million check to get in on that fund. The fact that we can invest in $1 billion fund is a testament, not to me, but to what we're building here on London Real Ventures. It's actually unprecedented, the fact that he would allow us in his fund. But he's a huge fan of what we do, and he believes that this is just the beginning. I think he secretly believes that we're going to probably invest $100 million with him over the course of the next couple of years, and he might be right. And so we couldn't be more excited to give my members, who would never get access to this fund has $1 million minimum. Okay, so for you to invest in this fund, you just got to be a big player. Maybe you are, God bless. But some of our students right now, and Martini can attest to that, they can put as little as, say, $10,000 into this thing and get access to all these incredible companies for the next 5-10 years. It's just a beautiful opportunity. So that's happening. We're closing that out as we speak. And then, of course, our OpenAI killer, which I'll talk about later. And this is our metaverse deal that's closing right now. Martini, there's only $20,000 of allocation left on this deal. It's the metaverse where fiction becomes reality, that is being launched by the biggest company in the world, which is Animoca Brands. It's a $4 billion fund that is invested in over 600 companies in the Web3 gaming sector. We have access, again, because of London Real, and we're giving it to our community. So far, 43 members of our community have invested in this token sale. It's going to go liquid in a couple months. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of money to be made. So this is literally what we're doing. So when I talk on these subjects, I talk on it because I know, and that's what I'm trying to tell you today. We believe in this. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. This is the essence of everything we do here. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. We believe we can change the future and create a future of our will. And that's the reason we're doing this. How many people agree with this? This is the greatest way to predict the future. I'm not a big fan of complaining. I'm not a big fan of burying my head in the sand. I've tried both ways. Doesn't work very well. Instead, we can create the future. And we are creating it as we speak. We've got a massive media channel. We have big chunks of capital. And if we put them in the right place, we can literally dictate the future of AI, the future of the blockchain, Web3, everything. This is our mission at London Real, which is to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. This has been our mission since the beginning. It has to do with everything we'll do, every single thing we do here. Every piece of media I create, every interview, every course I teach, every live event I hold, and every masterclass I teach like this. I am trying to make you more empowered, more conscious, and more cooperative. Does that make sense to everybody here? This is the same way we invest. I only invest in companies that do the same. I don't invest in alcohol and tobacco companies. I don't invest in Web2 companies that want to steal your data and censor you. We don't do this. I'm too old to do that. We invest in these companies, right? And that's why we're smiling all the time, ear to ear, right, Martini? Because we feel good about what we do here. And that's why we attract amazing people. We work with the best founders in the world that are doing the right thing. I'm not investing in Google and I'm not investing in Meta ever, okay? And for me, this is also personal. I have a real personal interest in creating this future. And that's these two gentlemen who are here in the studios today with me. And that's Caden on the right, and that's Damon in the middle. And all three of these men are even better looking in person, just so you know. And yeah, these boys are my light, and I love them so much. And I am, quite frankly, a bit concerned about their future. And I'm very worried that when they become teenagers, which is in 10 years, that their world is going to be dominated by a super AI that's super intelligent that might be making or trying to make us second-class citizens. It's a very real priority. And so I get up a little extra early and stay a little extra late in order to make sure this doesn't happen. Does anybody here have someone in your life that you kind of feel that way about or concerned about going forward? Well, that's what you need to channel when it comes to this, because you got to find something to push yourself. You got to push yourself into the fire with this, because it's very easy to kind of let this opportunity slide. You can't. This is literally life or death, and it's happening right now. There's no do-overs. Even next year is going to be too late for some of these things. So let's, again, just jump into this. As we know, massive amounts of money going into this space. As what we saw earlier, $1 billion here, $100 million there. Salesforce pumping in $500 million into the space. And of course, we know that China's ByteDance is gobbling up Nvidia chips, which is why Nvidia's earnings are so high. Everybody's getting into this space. I dropped by MIT last year, a place I graduated from in '93 with a mechanical engineering degree. And I spoke with some of my professors at the business school there called the MIT Sloan School of Management, where I took courses as well. And they said, Brian, the AI productivity boom is coming. I didn't really know what they were talking about, but they told me as a year ago, even a year and a half ago. Then I went to stop by my fraternity house where there's 50 young men about to go into the world. And I said, where are you guys going to work? Are you going to work on Wall Street? That's what I did. Are you going to work for McKinsey, one of these consultancy companies? They said, no, we're going to work for AI startups and blockchain startups. Folks, follow the money and follow the talent. That's how you know where to invest. Does that make sense to everybody here, right? It's not rocket science, but you don't know this until you go inside the halls of MIT and go into the fraternity houses of MIT. This is not going to be on some article you read on Google. All right. So this is happening right now. This is my friend, Peter Diamandis, who also graduated from MIT alongside of me, hanging out with Jeff Bezos, a good friend of his. He hangs out with Elon Musk, a good friend of his. And I recently had him on the show because he's written extensively about this. And he said, look, AI is going to cause turmoil, hacks, and job losses. But he also sees it helping to create abundance. Now, Peter created Singularity University, so he knows a lot about AI. He also founded the X Prize, which has these huge prizes that they give out to people that do these moonshots. And I found Peter's insights very interesting, and I wanted to share them with you because, you know, he is cautious on the future, but he is also he's also honest about the future. And he also has a book called Abundance, so he believes that. And this is what Peter told me.
We're going to start to see generative AI in the form of deep fakes and disruptions causing turmoil. We're going to see loss of jobs. We will see the first Wall Street servers hacked by AIs or the first power plants, and there will be concern that comes from that. These things are coming. The question is, will that AI be dystopian? Will it be the Terminator? Or will it be a benevolent entity supporting humanity, wanting us to be our best? It's tough to predict where things are going, but the convergence of these exponential technologies are allowing entrepreneurs to reinvent the future every single day.
And anybody listening should be trying to incorporate AI into every aspect of their business at this point.
Listen, if you're not an AI-first company, I understand that. That's okay. But at a minimum, what you need to do as the CEO, as the leader, is identify and bring in a chief AI officer, someone who understands who's out there. What's the topology look like? Who are the major players out there in the world? We humans have been the most extraordinary problem solvers ever. We're still here. We have solved so many problems over the years. We're really good at seeing the problems far away. We accelerate them to today, we freak out, but then we still have time with all the new technologies to solve them, and we do. And I have confidence that we will. And I have confidence that we have the ability to uplift every man, woman, and child on this planet and create this incredible world of abundance. So I really hope people walk away from this conversation, Brian, empowered about the future and knowing that they can make a real dent in the universe.
What do you think of Peter? We like Peter, pretty inspired by him. Yeah, I really like Peter because he's very honest. He speaks with most of the big players out there. But again, like I said, he's written books called Abundance, and he actually sees that if you can reframe this there's a lot of positives out there. And I kind of feel the same way. I want to be cautious, but I also want to be optimistic. I don't want to get paralyzed kind of with this deer in the headlight scenario. And that's a little bit of our philosophy here as well. And so the next point I want to share with you is a really important one, probably the most important point of the presentation. And that is an article that came out recently in Barron's that said Microsoft and Google want to dominate the AI economy, but open source models are a threat. Let me repeat that. Open source models are a threat. And that leads me to the leaked Google memo that came out a few months ago. Did not get enough press attention. But inside this leaked memo by a top AI scientist, we learned a lot about what was going on the inside. And this is what we learned. The Google employee admitted that they have been competing with OpenAI, but the uncomfortable truth is, and you can read the writing on the right there, is that we are not going to win this race, and neither will OpenAI. A third party is eating our lunch. Who are they talking about? Open source. Now, right before that, a few weeks earlier, Facebook had their large language model leaked to the public. And the public was out there on an open source level using this model to innovate. And this Google employee was watching and said, I couldn't believe it, that he's found that with just days between major developments was happening out there because anybody can tinker with this stuff. And many of the new ideas are coming from ordinary people, right? High school kids, other people that are just toying with AI. He just said that the barrier to entry for training has dropped from, say, $10 billion, from, say, 10,000 AI scientists down to one person, an evening, and a beefy laptop. That is a massive, massive confession to make. So we previously thought that maybe these multi-trillion-dollar companies were going to run the show, but it turns out that good old-fashioned open source, because of the hive mind, has the possibility to innovate even further. And folks, we've seen evidence of this. You can see this with these image models. DALL-E was the OpenAI closed source image model. But as of August 24th last year, almost 1 year ago, it was overtaken by Stable Diffusion, which was an open source model. And now it's doing 4x the volume. We already see evidence of what's going on here. Does that make sense to everybody? So these open source developments are happening. And by the way, we've seen this before. Linux operating system in computer science, crypto. All of crypto is basically open source, right? The code is public and it developed faster than anything that could have been done in the financial system. So there is serious precedence to this, but we didn't expect it in AI. At least I didn't. And that's the story. So based on that premise, I always like to say, enter our hero, Dr. Ben Goertzel. This is the CEO and chief scientist of SingularityNet. And this picture was taken 4 years ago when Dr. Ben came to my studio in London to talk to me about AI. At the time, it was a fascinating subject. I listened to him. And the next day, I forgot everything he told me because it wasn't very important. AI had not changed my life at that point. What happened? ChatGPT happened. And so all of a sudden, everything Ben said meant a lot more to me. I called him up and said, Ben, we need you back on the show. And he said, hey, Brian, my token price just went up 10x AGIX SingularityNet because of ChatGPT and the massive demand. And I was like, Ben, you got to come back on and talk to us and tell me what's going on. Have you revised your timelines, et cetera? And so Ben came back on and I was trying to guess what Ben was going to say to me. I mean, is he going to like say everything's been accelerated? No, it's not a big deal. It's not the same. I couldn't figure out what he was going to tell me. And this is what he said.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
What do we feel about Dr. Ben Goertzel? We liking him, right? Ben's the OG, right? He's been doing this for 35 years. Crazy, right? He coined the term AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's his term. And so after that show, I was like, Ben, I said, we got to talk, buddy. And so we got on a Zoom and I said, look, why don't you be our AI advisor for London Real Ventures? Because you clearly know what you're doing. Maybe you can advise on the deals that we're going to invest in. And he said, you know what, Brian, I love what you're doing with London Real. I love your mission. It's congruent with ours, but I got something better for you. Give me 2 weeks. So I said, okay. He came back 2 weeks later and he said, I want to introduce you to someone. And we got on a Zoom call and he introduced me to this amazing woman. This is Janet Adams. She is his chief operating officer at Singularity Net. And he said, Brian, I want you to be a part of our next startup. It's called Zarka, and it's our large language model, except we are going to do artificial general intelligence. They're busy working on narrow AI and predicting the next word. We believe we've already won this race because we have the intelligence. We have the know-how to build AGI, human level intelligence. And I was like, well, yeah, tell me more. And so I met Janet out here in London at one of their meetups. And as soon as I met her, I was extremely impressed. And I said, Janet, you got to come in the studio. And so I got her in 3 days later because we had to move fast because this whole market moves fast. And I asked her, I said, Janet, what are you doing with Zarka? Like, why is this important? And quite frankly, this is what Janet told me.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
How do we feel about Janet Adams? We feeling Janet? We like her energy? Yeah, I was on a call with her on Tuesday. She's exactly like that. And she's an amazing woman. She brings in an incredible counterbalance that's necessary to a lot of that kind of male-dominated PhD on the spectrum energy, which I know a lot about because that's what MIT is all about. And I think she's just a nice balancing aspect to that. And that's really what we need here. I think there may be a little too much of that going on in Silicon Valley. And so needless to say, we were very impressed and have continued to be impressed with Ben, with the entire team there. And, you know, we are now going to be a big part of this launch, and we already have been. And so we believe that this is the hottest artificial intelligence project in the world. We're calling it the Open AI Killer, and we're closing out this investment soon. We're going to write them basically $1 million check and be part of something amazing. And I'll share more details with this later. Needless to say, folks, 2023 is the year of AI. It's time to create generational wealth now. If you wait even a few months, you're going to miss it. And that's just the truth that maybe nobody wants to tell you. You cannot do this later. There's not going to be an AI winter. This technology is developing too fast. So what do? Well, you've got to figure out how to invest in the hottest trend. You've got to find that out. And there's only one way to do that. You got to have three things: deal flow, and more deal flow. If you don't have the deal, you're going to miss out every single time. You might be the smartest person in the world. You might have $1 billion of capital, but if you're not in on the deal, you will miss it and miss the opportunity. Does that make sense? Just raise your hand if that totally makes sense. For example, if I didn't know Ben from 4 years ago, I couldn't have him back on the show. He would have never introduced me, and I would never have the deal that I could show to you. Case in point, right? And you would have never even known this was happening, right? You've been none the wiser until it became an Nvidia in a couple of years. And then you were talking about, oh, it's $1 trillion company. And I would have said, yeah, I was talking about it 2 years ago. And that's why we're all rich and you're not. So this is what it's about. But to get the deals, you have to put in the time. And that means basically shoe leather, as one of my mentors would say. So that's what I do. I get on the road and I get out there and talk to people. This is me in Dubai last year at the Blockchain Summit and the GITEX, which is the largest technology conference in the world. I'm hanging out with massive crypto influencers, members of the government, big time VC people there. From there, I'm off to Paris to having private dinners with venture capital companies and some of the hottest startups on the planet. I'm doing media. I actually filmed a documentary there. And I met with some of our portfolio companies. In the upper right, you can see Swissborg and Cross the Ages, both of our investment companies. Then I was back to London for Token 2049, where I got to hang out with Yatsu of Animoca Brands. He runs a $4 billion, basically VC fund, the best in Web3 gaming. I had him in the studio, met with more companies, and then, of course, back to Paris, where I met with Tim Draper, legendary Silicon Valley investor. That's Dan Tapiero on the bottom. That's his $1 billion fund that we're investing in. More influencers. And then, of course, I went out to Texas for Consensus to spend time with Ben Goertzel and William Shatner, who's Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. I was a bit Star Trek. I won't lie. I was a little bit a fanboy because I grew up with him. And the reason I got to meet him is because he was on stage with Dave Broom of Orange Comet. You remember this guy's face in the middle upper? He's the guy I interviewed at London Real Studios. And that's the reason I got to hang out with William Shatner in the green room, is because our companies are working with the top, highest level people in the world, like William Shatner. I also got to introduce Yatsu to our portfolio company with the idea that perhaps they can invest, because we are looking for Orange Comet to IPO this next year and maybe make our investors 200, 300x return on their investments. That's going to make a lot of people a lot of money. And so that's what I do behind the scenes, is I try to grow our companies and find the next deal that will make you wealthy. That's what I do. And it's a lot of fun as well. I can't lie. And so you've got to invest with the best folks if you want any chance in this space. We look at hundreds of deals every single month, hundreds of deals, and we qualify them. We do due diligence on them. From there, we speak to CEOs every single week. Actually, on a Zoom call just like this, every single week, a CEO is pitching their company to our group. They come on, it's like Shark Tank. They have to present. I grill them hard, and if at the end they're still standing, we invest in them. And that's what we do every single week. We're ruthless about this, folks. We've got a system, and it's there to vet and find the best deals in the world. But that's not enough. If you don't understand the financial tools, you have no chance in this market. You're going to lose all your money, and you're going to go home crying. And trust me, there's a lot of people out there looking to take your money in this space. Like in any boom market, there's people out there that are just there to take your money. Raise your hand if that makes sense, right? In any boom, whether it's .com or crypto or this. Matter of fact, most of the actors are going to be, disingenuine, or they're just going to lose because they don't know what they're doing. Either way, you lose money, so it doesn't matter to me. So this is our thesis here, and this is how you can make a lot of money in this space, because we believe that early stage metaverse and artificial intelligence equity investments, that's early stage equity investments, are the hottest opportunity out there. Why, Brian? Why? You buy at super low valuations. This is key, and I'll show you how. You see the biggest gains possible. You invest in what we're calling the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history happening right now. Yes, it's high risk. I will admit that and agree it's high risk, but the reward is even higher. And again, this is only for a very small percentage of your assets, not a large percentage. What does that mean? Early stage funding is one of three types: seed funding, startup funding, early growth funding. These are for companies that are not yet profitable yet. Does that make sense to everybody? Just raise your hand if that makes sense. They're not yet profitable. That's why they're willing to give you some of their company in order to get your investment. Let me give you an example of this happening. Pay attention. How did Peter Thiel turn $500,000 into over $1 billion? That's Peter on the right, legendary Silicon Valley investor. That's Mr. Zuckerberg on the left, founder of Facebook, now called Meta. How did he do it? Well, let's look. Back in 2004, Peter invested $500,000 into Facebook via, wait for it, early stage equity private placement. It's exactly what we're talking about. At the time, it valued the company at $10 million. Okay, what happened next? 8 years later, Mark IPO'd Facebook in 2012. He sold the shares to the public. Now people like you, Peter, and Andrew, and Jacek, and Martin, and Agron, and Arno, now you get to buy this company, right? The public, we call you sheep because sheep get slaughtered. Because you can't buy the company at $10 million, you have to pay $100 billion for this company, right? What happens? Well, Peter Thiel made out like a bandit, 2,300x return on his money. Are you kidding me? A 230,000% investment gain. Has anyone here ever heard of someone making a 230,000% gain? Raise your hand if you have. I worked on Wall Street for 15 years. I never met one person that made that type of a gain. It's rare. So Peter Thiel cashed out. And what happened to you when you bought those shares, Peter Julian, on the IPO? What happened to those shares? They dropped. Of course they did, right? Because you are being used to make Peter Thiel wealthy. That's what the public is always used for, okay? That's how it works on Wall Street, sorry. So what do we learn from here? The wealthy invest in early stage companies. You don't. That's how the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. And a simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. Think about that. Okay, let's say you didn't have 10,000. Let's say you had $1,000. Who here could use an extra $2.3 million right about now? Come on, raise your hands. Yeah, not everybody, huh? Son Fitz, no hands up there. She's like, no, Brian, more money, more problems. I'm good. I'm good. Money's the root of all evil. Okay, that's fine. We'll take your money. What I'm trying to say is a small amount of money would have made a massive profit. It's called asymmetric investing. And it only happens in a very few types of scenarios. Early stage equity is one of them. Anybody here own any crypto? Raise your hand if you own some crypto. Come on, somebody's got some Bitcoin or Ethereum or something, stable coin. This happens in crypto too. It's called a pre-sale token. It's what we're doing with that Life Beyond company right now. Oh, by the way, this is the conclusion here. The public markets are for suckers, right? And the wealthy invest in early stage. That's the conclusion. So back to crypto, it's called pre-sale tokens. It's the same thing in crypto. You buy early stage for a fixed price before the crypto or the stock gets issued. Let me give you an example. Anybody know this blockchain? It's called Solana. Raise your hand if you heard of it. You probably have. It's pretty popular. Guess what? They did a pre-sale token. Look at the date here. Back in April 5th of 2018, you can see they sold tokens for 4 cents on the dollar. By the way, this is all on the blockchain. It's a public ledger. It's a public record. You can go check it out yourself. What did they do? They raised $3.17 million. Can everybody see this red circle here? It's not a lot of money. That's what I said. These are small deals, early stage, $3 million. They just need some capital to hire some people, do some tech development. They sold 79 million tokens. What happened? Well, today Solana's around $20 a token. That's a 59,000% return that you could have made. Did anybody here buy Solana for 4 cents? Come on, raise your hand. Anybody here? No? You probably bought Solana for $200 a token during the big rally when everybody was talking about it. Your grandma probably did, right? You're probably down 90%, not up 59,000%. Why? Because you don't know someone like me. So you have no deal flow, which means what? You get talked into making stupid investments by media companies and hype people out there that make you lose more and more money. Has this happened to anybody here in the past? It's happened to all of us, folks, especially in crypto, right? When the taxi driver's buying crypto and your grandma's buying crypto, does anybody think that's a good time to sell crypto? Raise your hand if you think it is. It's the time you want to sell that stuff, not buy it. I was a .com CFO of a company in New York City when I was 27 years old in the year 2000. Taxi drivers were buying internet stocks. When that happens, the market's about to crash. Trust me. So again, this is happening everywhere, folks, but you have no idea this is happening, right? You wouldn't even know this happened at Solana, that you could buy those things at 4 cents. You definitely didn't know that Peter Thiel made that much money on Facebook. Why? Because no one tells you these things are happening. Wall Street wants to keep you in the dark, and all this money is for their private banking clients. So how do you create the generational wealth? You're asking me. Okay, Brian, how? Well, you've got to pull the trigger. You got to stop sitting on your hands and listening to another podcast or listening to another masterclass. Unless you take action, this isn't going to happen to you. You can't read a book and make this happen. You've got to pull the trigger. And that's what we do here every single week. This is over, these are our screenshots of the over 500 pitch decks that we've looked at here inside London Mill Ventures. 500 pitch decks have come our way. These are companies looking to sell shares or crypto in their startups, right? Here they are. We look at them, we evaluate them. We put them in what we call our deal flow monitor. We track every single company, the blockchain it's on. Are they trying to raise money in equity, in crypto? How much are they raising? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. What's the valuation? 50 million, 100 million, $500 million, whatever. We track everything here. And then we pull the trigger. This is Dave Broom. He's a mastermind. He blew our minds when he came on our call and he pitched to us, right? He's doing digital collectibles with Sir Anthony Hopkins, with William Shatner, with some of the biggest companies out there, right? Scottie Pippen of the Chicago Bulls, the NFL, The Walking Dead, Fast and Furious. These guys are on fire. I put him in the leather chair. His interviews have been watched over 100,000 times. They love us. They love being partners with us because we bring them so much exposure, so many investors, so many projects. This is what we do, and that's why we get the deal flow. This is Swissborg, the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. They are literally building the bank of the future. We will use this platform in the future to sell some of our assets, and that's another one of our portfolio companies. This is Eric Poulier, the CEO of Vatum. They are building the metaverses for some of the biggest companies in the world. Their work is amazing. What they've done for Google and PepsiCo and Frito-Lay and Slack will blow your mind, right? Eric's been in the studio, and again, we're blowing them away. By the way, Peter Diamandis is on the board of directors of this company, right? So when you do great things, you find yourself bumping into great people in all sorts of strange ways. That's not a coincidence, I'm sure. This is Jason Ma, the founder of Open. It's Web3's hottest new super app for artists and creators. Jason is an amazing guy. Like I said, he's been involved in over $1 billion of transactions, and we've been blessed to invest in that company, Open. By the way, this is the TechCrunch article on Open last year. They raised $20 million at a $100 million valuation with some of the biggest names in the business. Look at it. Animoca Brands, Galaxy Digital, Warner Brothers Music. Guess what? I am putting you, people like you, my London Real family, into this deal after it closed. Folks, this is unheard of. This deal closed like 9 months ago. We're still getting in. And we're getting all those shares right into my London Realers. And they can invest as little as $5,000 in this company, right? Or nothing. It's up to you. It's your choice how much you want to invest. I just bring you the deal flow. And I just sat down with Jason a couple of weeks ago here in London. He's an amazing guy. I can't wait to do more with him. This is the $1 billion fund we're investing in that I showed you earlier. Dan Tapiero's One RT Holdings. And the list just keeps going on and on and on. This is what we're calling the OpenAI killer. By the way, this is Zarka. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model from SingularityNet at massive scale. This is the one to watch, folks. It's got the hottest AI team in the world. And guess what? They don't want to work for Google. They don't want to work for Microsoft. They want to work for Dr. Ben Goertzel. That's it. And look, it's the ChatGPT moment, but this is the problem. Large language models, they're limited. Right? They have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They don't know when they're wrong. They simply memorize instead of thinking. This is dangerous, folks, right? Enter neurosymbolic AI. This is what Ben specializes in, right? Now, all of a sudden, you got these models that can meta reason, right? They can really think. They can make human level decisions, and that escapes the AI monopoly as well. By the way, they've been on the blockchain for 4 years. It's smart ownership. It's decentralized. It's open source. This is their roadmap. They're going to do proof of concept by year end, and early next year, they're rolling out products. They already have AGI supremacy, unlike ChatGPT. Modest revenue projections of 55 billion. You put 100x multiple on that, you've got a $5 trillion company, the biggest company in the world, bigger than Nvidia, right? This is what we're talking about, folks. This is a winner take all scenario. And on top of that, these are good people. They are aligned with my values, my morals, my ethics, and my mission. And I really want to work with them in the future. And so my question for you is this the next 1000x return investment? Raise your hands if you think it is. We think it is. And that's my mission, is to present these opportunities to you. Right now, like I said, we have about 73 members of our investment club that are investing in this for as little as $5,000. You don't even have to put money in if you don't want to. It's up to you. Some put as much as 50,000. Maybe somebody put 70,000 in that. That's up to you. And it's all because of London Real Ventures. This is the ticket that gets us in to see these companies. And the more we do, the more deals we see. The more interviews I do, the more CEOs want in. And right now we are in the driver's seat in this marketplace. And we're trying to get my people access to every single deal on the planet. And we will. Obviously, you've seen our portfolio companies. This is our quadruple threat. This is why they keep coming to us. I produce an amazing piece of content. I distribute it to 5 million people worldwide. I connect you with the biggest names in the business, and then we cut you a big fat $1 million check on top of it. Who could say no to this? Nobody can. And that's how we're seeing the deals, and that's how I can pass on this deal flow to you. You would never see things like this unless you have $1 million to invest and you're one of these big fancy VC firms. But now, because you're part of London Real, you can do it through us. And so you might say, okay, Brian, this is great, but how do I learn how to actually do it? Well, there's only one solution. You have to invest with the best. Now, how many people agree with this statement on the screen? You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Come on, be honest. How many people agree with this? Think about your life. This is a truism, folks. If you don't know this is true, you've probably got your head in the sand. And it's probably why you're not where you want to be right now in your life or with your wealth. It's because you haven't realized this is true. You are not surrounding yourself with the right 5 people. You're hanging out with family and old friends that are bringing you down. And that's just the truth, folks. And guess what? If you're not willing to make those changes, then you deserve to stay poor. If you're willing to make hard choices, you deserve to create wealth. That's all that this is about. That's the honest truth that no one is willing to tell you. But I am, because we're living this right now. And folks, I'll be honest with you. This is the story of my life as well. These are 3 versions of Brian Rose, right? The first one on the left, I'm in high school. I just bought my new Ford Mustang for $1,200. I spent all summer working for that. I made $6 an hour. And I couldn't be more proud of that car, as you can see, with the vinyl top that I took off afterwards. Now, at the time, my peer group was a bunch of high school students. Do you think I was rich at the time? No. Why? I was smart, but I wasn't surrounded by people that were making a lot of money or doing high performance things. Is that clear with everybody? Raise your hand if that makes sense, right? I was just in high school. Okay. Fast forward 4 years, I'm in the middle, right? That's me, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I'm graduating there, 1993, mechanical engineering degree. Now I was surrounded by some very, very, very smart people in the world, but they're all 22 years old as well. I think I made $3,000 that year working as a summer intern for some company. I mean, getting beer money was hard at my fraternity house. I was still broke, all right? Again, who was my peer group? Smart people. So I was smart, but they weren't making money yet. Okay, great. Now fast forward actually 2 more years to the picture on the right. Now I'm working on Wall Street. I'm living in Manhattan. My peer group is now 300 high performance men and women, each making between $3 and $9 to $10 million a year on Wall Street. Now that year, I think I made $184,000. I was 24 years old. Now, let me ask you a simple question, folks. Did I get that much smarter in those 2 years from graduating MIT? No, it's the truth is I didn't. What did I do? I surrounded myself with a high performance peer group. And guess what happened? My income improved accordingly. And as long as I continued to surround myself with those people, which I did for the next 10 years, my income went up and up and up and up. Folks, it's who you surround yourself with. That's the unlock. It's not what you read. It's not your fancy degrees. It's not all that nonsense. It's your peer group. How many people agree with that statement? Can I see your hands? This is the truth. And yet it's very hard to change your peer group in this world. Very hard, because your family and your guilt and your friends and your, your location is very hard. And that's why I created the Investment Club. This is Marianne Bartels. Okay. She's a 35-year Wall Street veteran. She was the chief information officer of Merrill Lynch and Bank of America. She knows more about the stock market, about inflation, about bond yields than anyone I've ever met. Okay. For all I know, she tells the Federal Reserve of America what to do before they even do it. She is one of the founding members of my Investment Club. When she comes on our Zoom calls and I ask her about the economy, I literally turn my microphone off while she talks, because she is so amazing, right? And by the way, she's invested in Open. She's invested in Zarka. She invested in Orange Comet. She invested in Batum. Why? Because she knows what the hell she's doing. This is your new peer group, all right? Outside of my club, you have no chance to ever meet Marianne, let alone her spending 5 minutes with you. Now, this is your peer group, right? You're on Zoom calls with her. You're on direct messages with her. You can have a private call with her if you want. This is one of 100 members inside my group. This is Andrew Haynes. He's our metaverse expert. He built this metaverse inside the sandbox, his mansion. He's got a digital collectible gallery. He goes to one of the highest and most highly rated executive training schools in Switzerland and hangs out with some of the top AI scientists in the world. This is your new peer group. You get to hang out with every single day, Zoom calls every single week. This is Dr. Encore, who completely remade his career from medicine 2 years ago when he took my crypto and DeFi accelerator. Then he took my Kings of DeFi course. He was the founding member of the Investment Club a year and a half ago. And I just hired him full-time 2 months ago to work for London Mill Ventures. He has gone from like zero to hero in the space. And now he's basically top level venture cap performance. We taught him everything he knows, and now he's taken this to the next level. By the way, the reason you see a YouTube channel is because I challenged him to upload one video to YouTube about a year ago, and he never stopped. 365 videos later, he had a channel with hundreds of thousands of views, and he regularly gets offered $100,000 offers in pre-sale tokens to advise on companies for free, by the way, and he turns them down. This is your new peer group, folks. And there's 100 of these just like this all over the world, high-level people. This is the only chance you have, in my opinion, to create that generational wealth. Your network is your network. How many people agree with that statement? Your net worth really is your network. And that's the truth, folks. The sooner you realize this, the better, but you got to take action and change it. If you're hanging out with a bunch of broke people, you're going to be broke. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people that complain about money all day, I mean, I actually have not hung out with someone who complained about money in like years now, because I leave the room when it happens and then I never call them again. I don't want to hear about complaining about money. I don't want to hear somebody telling me how to save money. Does that drive anybody else crazy? It drives me crazy. Oh, you know how to save a couple $100? I'm like, dude, the time that you just told me to do this is time I'll never get back in my life. I have conversations with people about how we're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what I talk about these days. I talk about the future. I talk about ideas. Low energy people talk about people and events and other nonsense. I don't even do it anymore. Trust me, folks, upgrade your network is what you want to do. And this is what we do here. I believe in this philosophy. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We have taught someone like Dr. Encore how to fish, and now he feeds for a lifetime. And that's why I started my investment club. Because in 2021, we invested in Cross the Ages, which is the hottest blockchain gaming company out there right now. And look, folks, at the time, I had studied finance at the MIT Sloan School of Management. I worked for 15 years on Wall Street and here in the city of London. And quite frankly, I had never heard of any of this pre-sale token stuff. And quite frankly, it scared the bejesus out of me. I was like, what the heck are these things? And I thought, wow, if it confuses me, none of you have any chance of ever doing this. Most of you have never even heard of this until today. And so I thought we have to teach it. And that's what we did. I created the investment club. Every quarter, we open up 10 spaces. It's application only, and it's always fully oversubscribed. It's 6 modules, 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month program. But guess what? No one's ever left my program, because why would you leave? So far, it's been a lifetime membership. Because once you've got skills and we've got companies, why would we ever part ways? And that's what's happened so far. We have weekly live Zoom video calls with the top CEOs on the planet. We have a private Telegram group. You get access to all of our deal flow, Plus, you get a bonus full year of our Kings of DeFi, which is our advanced crypto blockchain metaverse program. So in case you're a little rusty on some things, we'll get you up to speed in no time. Our next live call is Thursday at 7:15 p.m. We teach this all remotely to people in about 25 countries around the world. The best people you've ever met are in this group. I'm telling you, your friends, your future friends are in this group. We have people that have really met the people they've been searching for their whole lives because it's a beautiful place. I teach everything in real time. So these are the modules, but I'm constantly changing my shirt and tie colors for you and the modules because the markets move and I constantly have to update things every few months because this market is changing so fast, as you can see, even from AI and Nvidia. This is the syllabus here of what we teach. You can see module 1 is what is a blockchain AI metaverse presale. I go into depth about what these things are and how you can understand them. Module 2 is what is a SAFT or a safe. By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is in this group. Can I see? I see one hand going up from Roman. Nobody else knows what it is. The fact that you don't know what a SAFT is shocking. I would say it should embarrass you, but you shouldn't be embarrassed because no one ever taught you these things, right? But it's scandalous, the fact that you have not had a proper financial education. And that's because Wall Street wants you to stay poor. My friends on Wall Street, they hate the fact that I'm teaching you this stuff because these are the secrets that they want to keep away from the average consumer because this is how you get wealthy. A SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. It's how we invest in pre-sale tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. It's how we do those deals like Facebook. The fact you don't know where they are, what they are, should tell you one thing. You have no financial education, and without it, you will stay poor. And we can fix that. These things are not complicated. They look complicated. I'll have you up to speed within 2 weeks. Module 3 is Deal Flow Part 1. How do you do due diligence on these companies? I teach you the 5 T's of investing. Team, traction, technology, tokenomics, terms and conditions, right? You can evaluate any deal within about 10 minutes, further analysis an hour. You can make a good call on these things fast. I'll teach you how to do that. Module 4 is deal flow. How can you go and find those deals? That conference in Texas, one of my students came with me. He walked away with 12 deals on that conference alone. I'm going to show you what to wear, what ticket to buy, where to go to, how to interact with people, and how you can walk away with deals. All of my students are doing this all over the world. Module 5 is how you nurture those investments so they grow and grow and grow so we make more and more money. And module 6 is how do you get the cash out? That's what we teach. This is it, folks. It's pretty simple. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And here are the details, folks. We are oversubscribed, as we always are. We have 7 confirmed, 1 on hold. We either have 2 spaces left or 1 space left. Martini's working 24/7. I never know. The investment in this program is $50,000. That will double to 100,000 on the next quarter. Now, look, I understand that's a significant investment, and I agree with you. It's significant. That I'm aware of. But the return is unlimited, folks. It's an unlimited financial return. So when you think about it that way, it puts it in perspective. And it gives you a chance to take part of the greatest wealth creation event in human history. And these special investment opportunities are ending soon. Zark is ending, Open's ending, Life Beyond is ending, 1RT is ending. Right now, you got the chance to jump in on 4 different deals. I can't even believe we have these hottest deals right now. A year ago, if you had told me I would have these deals, I would have laughed at your face. This time, same time next year, we'll probably have 14 deals like this. So we keep growing. By the way, on the last course, 3 months ago, I had this special investment opportunity to offer you, which you missed, by the way. This is a SAFT agreement right here. You can see it. It looks complicated. It's not. It's not. I'll teach you about these things. But this deal would have made you a 466% return in 1 day, folks. Think about it. If you put $10,000 in this investment, you would have paid for the course in 1 day. All right. I made my investment club $300,000 in 1 day. And this wasn't even a big deal. We were actually bored that day. We have a track record of success in this group. And this is our first investment across the ages, right? They are completely dominating the app stores. It's the hottest blockchain gaming company. This is Sammy Chlagu, the CEO. This is my interview with him. After he was on the show, they got a further $12 million of investment from Ubisoft and Animoca Brands. They're selling millions of dollars worth of NFTs out there. They're going to launch their token this year. We're expecting a 10x pop, and then it's going to go up even higher. We have a track record of success in this group, and it's going to continue. My pledge to everybody on the inside is I'm going to create $10 billion of wealth for my club in the next 10 years. And you're going to watch us do it. And you can either watch it from the outside or you can be a part of it on the inside, but it's going to happen. And so this is Jens. He's one of our founding members, and he was on this call with all of you a couple of weeks ago, and he was looking at a bunch of your faces, and needless to say, he wasn't impressed. And he called me up afterward. He said, Brian, I could tell they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand this opportunity. And I was like, Jens, don't worry about it. We've already got our quota for this quarter. We can't take them anyways. And he said, yeah, Brian, but it kills me that they don't understand the opportunity they're sitting on. He's like, Brian, I spent most of my life investing, and now I don't. Now I do what you tell me to do. And he said, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I said, well, Jens, what do you want me to do? He's a very passionate guy. He said, I want to tell them what they're missing. So he recorded a video and he wanted me to play it for you. So here he is.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid, and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have, and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this. This is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid, and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
Oh, we like Jens. He's got some amazing energy, that Jens, isn't he? Right? Fantastic. All right, folks, just a couple final things here. Just love to hear from him and just like see everything that he's doing here. So that's Jens, and just wanted to say a couple final pieces here. Stay with me right here. There we go. Yeah, so these are my final thoughts on everything here. As Marianne Bartels once told me, it only takes one. One of these deals can change your children's future, your grandchildren's future, everything. And so just to sum it up, don't let 2023 pass you by. Learn early stage investing now because you're going to use it your whole lifetime. Remember, liquid tokens and liquid equity have limited gains. This is your chance to learn from active investors for just $50,000. Yes, this is a significant investment. I agree, but it has unlimited financial returns. And thanks to Martini, we agreed to create a payment plan so you could invest right away in some of the deals, even if you didn't have all the cash right away. So for 10,000 a month for 5 months, you can get in on these deals right now. And it's your chance to invest in the best deal flow in the world. And always remember what Warren Buffett said, the best investment is in yourself. An investment in the investment club is an investment in yourself, potentially for the next 10 years. It's going to change your peer group. It's going to change your life. It's going to change absolutely everything. And so if you're interested in this, please book a call with Martini and sell her on the fact of why we should have you in the club. Again, whatever you do, don't waste her time. She's super busy, inundated with calls 24/7. But these are some of the ways that you can actually book a call with her. And again, we're looking for people with the right energy. We don't care about fancy degrees or large amounts of money. We want people with the right energy that can go on this with us. Lastly, folks, find out what your why is. That's so important. With the right why, anyhow is possible. If you have someone in your life or something that's really important to you, you can find a way to make this happen. And I can't wait to be on this amazing adventure with all of you. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something really well. We've got Martini on here, and I want to just take this a chance to just pass it over to her, and she can tell you as far as next steps, how you can get in touch with her and how you can take things to the next level. And I really look forward to seeing some of you on our next live call. Over to you, Martini.
Yes. So Brian, I will definitely keep it brief because I am running late for a call right now. But I hope everybody was able to pick up some pretty amazing gems today. But I want everybody to keep in mind that, as Brian said, within 10 years, this is going to be a completely different world that we are in right now. And the question is, are you prepared for what's to come? Are you prepared? So I want to make sure that everybody here has the opportunity to go ahead and connect with us, because we are investing in projects that in companies that are really truly wanting to make a difference in this world. And like Mo said, I'm not necessarily scared of the machines, but I'm a little concerned about who's controlling the machines or what humans are controlling the machines. So we want to make sure that the money and the wealth is in the hands of the people who are going to do right with it. So that's one of the areas that we're focusing on in the investment club, really investing in projects that we truly believe in. So if you go ahead and look down, I did put some links inside of the chat here. The first link is for you to go ahead and take a look at the investment club page. Take a look at all the information there and see what's going to be available for you, what you're going to be learning, what you're going to be experiencing, and how we can best support you on your journey. The next thing is to go ahead and if you have any questions, go ahead and book a call with me. But as Brian said, I only want to speak to people who are absolutely serious about joining us in the investment club. I don't want to talk to you if you're just playing busy. I don't want to talk to you if you're looking into joining us, several months from now. I don't want to talk to you if you are not serious. So please, my time is only going to be reserved for people who are ready to pull the trigger, but they just have a few questions. If you do not see a time that is available on my calendar, I know that we're spread out all throughout the land, so you can go ahead and send me a private message on Facebook to connect. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what time is best available in your time zone, and I'll definitely do my best to accommodate. I work round the clock, as Brian says, but it's really just because you guys are just so important to us, and the more hands we have on deck and the more wealth that we're putting into the hands of people who are going to do right with it, I feel like I'm doing my part. So there's always email as well, but honestly, Facebook is always the fastest way to get a hold of me. So hopefully everybody was able to pick up some gems today. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the inside soon. So I think, did Brian pop off? Maybe Brian's off. Okay, so maybe he's running late for a call too. So, all right, guys, hope you have an amazing weekend. Please don't let the information stop here. We definitely want to see you and we want to support you on the inside. So we'll see you on the next live call. Bye for now, guys.